Hi, in this video we're going to talk about the ASL 558 Atom mouse emulator. This mouse emulator is designed to work exclusively with ASL's Atom technology found in our drive controls. The technology provides a Bluetooth connection from our drive control to a receiver, in this case the Atom mouse emulator. This connection is made directly from our drive control to the mouse emulator without the need to navigate any PowerShare electronics. The benefits of this mouse emulator are the flexibility of its controls. You have the ability with a simple slide of a dip switch to use a mouse in 3-switch mode, 4-switch mode, or 5-switch mode. This allows the ultimate flexibility for the patients to use their drive control the easiest and most successful way for them. All directions can be programmed to function the way they want, giving them full mouse control with as few as 2 directions for use. There are no software drivers required for the computer. It is simply plugged into a USB port and the drive control will connect when the patient puts it into Bluetooth mode. Hi, let's get a closer look at the back of the mouse emulator and try to understand a bit about those dip switches and the dials. So first let's take a look at the dip switches. At the very top you're going to find a row of white dip switches. They are encased in kind of a little red box. You'll see. I'm going to zoom in here. Those dip switches work in pairs. There's 6 pairs: 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 9 and 10, 11 and 12. They work with each other to enable and modify certain features and behavior of the mouse on the screen. The types of behavior that can be changed are things such as how fast the mouse moves when it first begins moving, how fast the mouse moves overall, how long you need to hold a switch or a direction in order to activate the latch feature, and there are a couple others. But the one I want to talk about now is the ability to set the mouse emulator in 3-switch, 4-switch, or 5-switch mode. Let me explain what those different modes mean. First, there are 7 things we need to be able to do with the mouse. Move right, move left, move up, move down, right click, left click, and latch it in order to click and drag. Right click is one of the functions that we can sometimes work without. You will see that we don't always have it built in each setup. Whether the mouse emulator is set in 3-switch, 4-switch, or 5-switch depends on how many directions or switches you want to use to accomplish the 7 mouse functions and how many of those directions will toggle. 3-switch mode was specifically developed to work with head arrays, but there are circumstances when it is a good option for joystick drivers as well. Below the dip switches, you'll find a series of blue and white dials. Those dials in the top row there correspond to the directions of your drive control. So if you remember, in a head array you have forward, right, and left without a reverse. And in a joystick you've got forward, reverse, left, and right. In switches like sip and puff or fiber optics or trays, you may have all 4 directions, you may only use 3, kind of depends on the patient. But you need to pay attention to what directions you have available to you. Okay? The top 4 dials, moving from left to right, as you can see I've sort of written on my mouse emulator so that I know which one's which. Left to right, the first one is reverse, the reverse direction of your drive control, so down on a joystick. The left direction, the right direction, the forward direction. And then the bottom 2 are right click and left click. Now the job of these dials are to tell the mouse what direction or what function to perform when the drive control is activated in that direction. There's a rule about this. No 2 dials can be set to the same number except number 0. On the back of the 558 there's a round sticker down there, it's white, and you can see that it will tell you what the mouse will do when a dial is set to that number. So the 0 is no change, or basically it's not going to do anything. And then number 1 would move the mouse down, number 2 would move it left, 3 right, 4 up, 5 is right click, and 6 is left click. Alright, let's set the mouse emulator up to operate in 3-switch mode. 3-switch mode is used when your patient uses a head array or some other 3-quadrant driving system. It always utilizes 2 toggles for movement of the mouse. For this setup, we have to make sure that we've placed the dip switch number 11 and 12 both in the down position. So I'm going to zoom in because right now it's already there. But I'm going to show you up close those dip switches. Oop, that went out of, sorry. close as I can get. Okay, so these switches right here, this one and this one, need to be both down, and that's 3 switch. And when that happens, the way the switches will work is one drive direction will toggle the mouse up and down. Another will toggle the mouse right and left, and the third will be a left click. And with that you can click, double click, or latch if you need it. If you needed a right click, you would have to add an additional switch to accomplish that. In this mode, the 558 is expecting that there are 4 directions that will need to be split across 2 drive control switches, and the other will do the clicking. Okay, so a typical setup is that the back pad does the clicking, the left pad does right and left, and the right pad does up and down. So I'm going to set that for you so that you can see the directions. So let's move in and take a look. So you can see that because I have a head array, it's set to 0 here. The reverse direction, because I don't have a reverse pad, is set to nothing. The left one, the left pad, is set to 3. And 3 says right, which means but remember it's going to toggle, so it's going to right and left. The right one here is set to be up, and then the forward or the back pad is set at number 6, which is left click, and then we have these 2 down here that are set to nothing because we're not adding any extra switches. So I'm going to show you how it works with a head array, but I got to back way out of here so you can see my computer behind the mouse emulator. So hold on. I wanted you to see up close. There's a great big cursor. I tried to make it huge so you could see it. Let me get a head array. Okay, so the head array right now, I'm going to bring it out here. The right direction, so here I'm touching the right pad. See it go up and down? It toggles up and down. If I go to the left pad over here, toggles left and right. All right, I got to move it down. I'm going to try to get on that little document right there. And then the back pad, if I double tap it, it'll click on it, right? Tap out of it. So that's how it would work, okay, with a head array. It's hard to get it all in one shot. Okay, so 2 toggle directions in 3 switch mode. And then a click back here. Okay, in this second example of 3 switch mode, I want to show you how to set it up for 3 switch but on a joystick. So one of the reasons you might do that is somebody who perhaps was driving with a chin control joystick and they wanted right click. Remember, on a joystick you have 4 directions that you can use. So in 3 switch mode we're going to take advantage and of forward, right, and left, just like we had it in the head array, but we're going to add in reverse and make that the right click. So in order to do that, everything's exactly the same. Left is going to go left and right, right is going up and down, forward is the click, but right we have turned off. So if I want reverse to be right click, I need to turn it to 5. So I'm just going to put my little screwdriver in there, turn that dial until it's at 5. Alright, I don't know if you can see it. Okay, and now I'm going to be able to use all 4 directions of that joystick. So I'm going to put this down so it's out of the way. Let's move it over here. Sorry. Alright, and here's the joystick out in front. So just like we said, see the cursor moving? I'm toggling left and right, and then if I go right it toggles up and down. But now if I pull back, there's my right click. Right? So on a computer, when you pull back, it pops up that little menu and lets you do some stuff. Okay? And if I don't want to, I'm going to go move away. If I push it forward, it's a click, so it makes it disappear. So that's 3 switch mode on a joystick. Alright, let's do a setup now for 4 switch mode. In 4 switch mode, I'm going to manage all mouse functions through 4 directions or 4 switches. This is most often found when we use a joystick, when we use sip and puff, fiber optics. Those guys usually drive with 4 directions. In this setup, only up and down will toggle. So there's only 1 direction that toggles. 2 others will be the true directions of left and right. And then the 4th will be left click. Okay? So in order to set this up, we have to change the dip switches 11 and 12. So right now they're set for 3 switch, where both dip switches are in the down position. Now we're going to push one of them. I'm going to push number 12. And I'm going to have one be up and one be down. It doesn't matter which. They just need to be opposite each other. Okay? The way the switches can work, one direction will toggle, two will move in their true directions of right and left, and then the fourth is your left click and latch. If you need a right click, you would add that. It would be an additional switch. So it would be like a fifth switch, if you will. Additionally, these mouse functions can be assigned in any direction the patient wants. They're not tied to a direction. This is just what I'm going to show you is just an example. So let's make forward be the one that toggles up and down. So we find forward, and forward, if we look on the little dial here, is number 4. Up is number 4, and so that's going to toggle. So I need this dial here to be pointing at number 4. Hard to see. There we go. Number 4. Okay? Reverse is going to be the clicking. So I need that to be left click. So I want reverse. I'm going to go to the dial that's reverse and put that all the way at 6. Okay, left should go left, which is number 2. So the left direction of my joystick is going to go to number 2, and the right is going to go right, which is number 3. So I need to move right to 3. Okay, now that is set up for a joystick to go in 4 switch. Okay, so here it is all set up. We set the dials and the dip switches to go into 4 switch, and I have a chin joystick set up on this chair, and I'm going to show you that forward, in the forward direction, should toggle up and down. There's up, hit it again, there's down. So I'm going in the forward direction, up and down. Right direction moves right only. If I pull it to the left, it should move only to the left. Right? So I'm going to get over here, move it up, and if I go down, double click, I should be able to open a blank Word document. And there's Word opening. Okay, so that's 4 switch mode. If I need right click, I have to add another switch. That can plug directly into our joystick. We have a port for that. Or, you know, it could potentially go into a mouse emulator, but you would need a 5th switch. Okay? Okay, here's a quick explanation of what 5 switch means. 5 switch means that your 4 driving directions, forward, right, left, and reverse, will actually move the mouse in those same directions. So there are no toggling in 5 switch. So up goes up, down, reverse goes down, left goes left, right goes right. Okay, and then you need additional switches for left click and right click. So you would have a joystick or 4 switches, and then you'd let go of that joystick and hit a 5th switch to click or double click, and if you could have right click as a 6th switch. But in order to put this mouse emulator into that mode, both of those 11 and 12 dip switches need to be up. So now I'm going to punch that up at a 4 switch. So now 11 and 12 are ready for 5 switch. I'm going to get my little screwdriver, and I'm going to put reverse going reverse, which is number 1. So the reverse switch should be on number 1. Go all the way and back 1. Left is left, right is right, and forward should be on up. And then I would set my left click to be left click and right click to be right click. Okay, so that's basically how you'd set that up. 5 switch is not something we use a ton. We do use it, but it does require additional switches. So 3 switch and 4 switch are probably our most common setups, but the flexibility of this is wonderful. Okay, that's 5 switch. Well, that's the basic setup of the Atom 558 mouse emulator. As with most of ASL's products, there are many custom settings that can be changed. Those are managed with those other 10 dip switch pairings. To see more on the programming, go to www.asl-inc.com, then go under the technical support and then the programming docs, and you'll find a PDF for the Atom 558 that explains the other settings that are available through the dip switches. One of the biggest advantages to this mouse emulator is that all mouse movements and settings live within that mouse emulator itself and not on the computer. You don't need to go into the control panels to slow the mouse down. Therefore, when you bring your mouse and you plug it into a strange computer, the mouse will behave as you expect it to, like it did on any other computer. So that's a really valuable benefit, not having to go in and out of those control panels to make each computer work the way you want it to. The ability to customize the mouse, make your own drive directions, be whatever you prefer, is a big feature that can make this product function exactly the way the patient needs to. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to call ASL at 1-800-626-8698, and thanks for watching.